I learned a lot. It had zero market fit and it was impossible to sell 100%, but it was cool. I learned a lot about sales. I learned a lot about marketing, and I got into the process. One of the best lessons in terms of entrepreneurship was just sell what people want, do not convince them, and sub-niche on something that is already trending and working, that is creating demand for you. And most of the time is do the 80-20 that move the needle, because you can build whatever on clay. But you are smart when you move faster, not when you build like more technical things. If you spend half a day in building something that does not move the needle, you're not smart, you're stupid. Because the end goal is moving faster, is making more money.
Smart by them, because the enterprise companies are the ones that have the budgets to actually afford using clay at scale, because it can get expensive.
This is like the new networking. Before you were going to the restaurant, to conferences, it is still working, still effective. But if you have few time, this is crazy. Nobody's really doing this in an effective way. Cold calling is powerful. But just a couple of years ago, I had a call with a CEO of $1 billion company, B2B company, commercial company. So if you're a commercial company, you have a large sales force and you are pretty aware of what's going on. And you're even launching like new initiatives, so they have a lot of things going from 0 to 1 in B2B. I was like, you have to hire a BDR. And it was like, man, I don't know what a BDR is.
All right, welcome to Prospecting Pros. We have my co-host, Chris Lingenfelter, and our guest, Michael. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, like super excited.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. So let's jump into it. Michael, tell us a little bit about your background. I mean, we know you're from Italy, but how did you, once you got into the working world, how did you get experience up to starting your clay agency? Walk us through that.
Sure. Thanks so much. And yeah, pretty long story, interesting story. I don't know, you will judge. But so first of all, I'm not an agency. I know it's confusing, but right now I'm a go-to-market consultant. I basically work on two things. One is advising scale-ups, mostly scale-ups company over 30, 50 millions in revenue. And I have a newsletter, a coaching program, etc. So definitely not an agency. And basically my story, I guess it started after university, where I started working in a like B2B SaaS in Italy. I learned a lot. It had zero market fit and it was impossible to sell 100%, but it was cool. I learned a lot about sales. I learned a lot about marketing. And I got into the process. I had a lot of freedom because like in an early stage startup, you can do a lot of things. We had a lot of SDRs and I moved like from very junior to actually leading the SDR sales growth part. And I soon figured out that I can really automate 50, 60% of my job. So there was like a time where me alone, I was able to almost fully automate my job and really perform better than the rest of the SDR team. Now we call this like a go-to-market engineering. Back in the days, it was just being smarter. And by the way, back in the days, clay wasn't a thing. And the things that I was doing was nothing crazy. There was no magic. But think about a very old school like SDR process and me just trying to automate emails. It's basically anything if you think about it. And if you think about even how the curve of GTM taxes evolved, like cold email 5 years ago was crazy. In Italy, it's still crazy. And it was really high performing. From there, basically, which was my 9 to 5, I gained like a lot of confidence in myself, in my abilities to actually execute. I just started my own. I moved away from 9 to 5. I hate 9 to 5 in general. I started my own outbound practice, if you want to call it like this. I closed my first very small clients in Italy, like small agencies, small SaaS. And from there, basically everything just followed. I found clay. I moved to the US market. I'm trying to get better with my English in general. And when I found clay was really like a pivotal time. And to all the guys that are listening right now, one of the best lessons in terms of entrepreneurship was just sell what people want, do not convince them, and sub-niche on something that is already trending and working, that is creating demand for you. If you think about it now, it seems like super obvious, but to really learn it, you have to experiencing it like the hard way. You have to try to sell something that people don't really want to actually understand what I'm talking about most of the times. But then when I sub-niched on clay, it was already working, already trending, and sub-niching on it, I already have people that knows the category, are really interested, and I only have to convert that demand. So for example, if I have to start from scratch tomorrow, what I would do if clay shut down? Easy. I will find like a very technical tool that is really skyrocketing, that makes a lot of sense. It's a revolution in how the things are done today. And I would sub-niche on that, build my content around that, and just convert.
I'm glad you bring that up because I think I see a lot of people that are involved in clay, and I always wonder what happens if something happens to clay. But that's good you have that mindset that if something were to happen, you already have an idea in the back of your head.
Yeah, there are many things. I don't know if you meant like technical tools, but I will make an example. HubSpot could be another example. It's already big, it's still growing, a lot of untapped demand. Not untapped demand, untapped conversions, a lot of demand that you have to convert. So you can really reinvent yourself like fast.
So how did you get up to speed with clay? So you heard about it. I've heard about it. I've never become a pro with it. Like, how did you learn? Did you have someone that taught you, or did you teach yourself how the ins and outs of how the tool works?
Yeah, basically, back in the days, I had like my first demo of clay with who is now the founder, Varun, and we still both remember that day. Now it's like a superstar. It's like a reachable. But when I started, clay was like maybe 100 times smaller than what is today. Yeah, very small. You don't have a lot of features. So it was like easier to learn. Now you have a lot of features. It's even too confusing probably, which is fine actually, because clay is going into a enterprise direction and you actually need those features. But we can talk about this like later. I learned simply just trying to move all my processes into clay. I found some very interesting posts on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and I was trying to replicate it. And what I can suggest is just do the things, get that clay account and try with your own, try to overcome the technical bottlenecks. Then, if you want to scale fast, open your agency or implement in a big base, you probably need help, especially if you want to skip the guesswork, because the learning curve is a little bit steep. But the best advice that I can give you is put your hands dirty, start building and figure out the things on your own. And most of the time is do the 80-20 that move the needle, because you can build whatever on clay. But you are smart when you move faster, not when you build like more technical things. If you spend half a day in building something that does not move the needle, you're not smart, you're stupid. Because the end goal is moving faster, is making more money.
What do you feel like clay excels the most in? Is it the data enrichment waterfall aspect, or is it just being able to build out the custom tables? Where do you feel it's strongest?
Yeah, I think the ecosystem clay created and the direction is going. So it's all the things that you mentioned before. But so clay was born as an outbound tool, right? And I saw an interview with the founder who says, we niched down a little bit on agencies and outbound because we wanted to gain a lot of feedbacks from the market. And then now, if you check like all the new hires inside clay, all of them are ex-enterprise account executives. So it means they are going, and it's not a secret, even in their post you can find it, they are having an enterprise motion now. So they are going from outbound to sales ops, rev ops. Now like 100% or 80% of my advising consulting work is not outbound actually. It's really rev ops, crazy enough. And RevOps, you actually have a lot of use cases. And for example, activate the sales team with data. HR is an incredible use case. Inbound is an incredible use case. CRM enrichment, incredible use case. Pre, post, during conference playbooks to actually give better lists to the salespeople, incredible use case. So you have a lot of goals, and the bigger a company gets, and the bigger the value you can get to actually move faster in launching go-to-market tactics. Not just sales, not just prospecting, is part of the game. It is probably right now the main use case, but while we are scaling up market, it is changing a lot, and we are going into this direction. And I'm very excited about it. I really love it. I think there's even more, way more value than sending cold email at scale, right?
It's smart by them, because the enterprise companies are the ones that have the budgets to actually afford using Clay at scale, because it can get expensive. I know you can hook up all the APIs and lower your costs, but it's certainly a tool where if you don't know what you're doing, you're like, oh shit, I just spent $400 trying to enrich this list.
Yeah, I wish it is only $400. I found like horror stories you can't believe. Like you have 1 million credits, boom, disappear. Because for example, I don't know, I connect it to HubSpot. I get all the inbound leads because I want to enrich them. You have crazy website traffic, you forget about it. 1 week after, you have minus way more than $400, right? No,
Yeah.
it's true. You have to pay attention. So actually, this is especially for like aspiring Clay agencies. You can run Clay for pretty cheap. I still have a $300 per month account. I connect a couple of APIs, and part of my coaching is like a process to scale everything without using credits. And especially for outbound, guys, I totally don't use credits at the end of the month. I have 100% of the credits because it's with a couple of APIs like Lead Magic, OpenAI API, Serper for maps. You can scale 99% of enrichments, and you probably don't really need the others most of the times. Okay. When you are on an enterprise company, first, I don't know if you really can connect these APIs in an easy way, because then from one account you have to open 5, and it's a problem. Secondly, you have more scale with bigger plans, and the money is probably not an issue. Because I'm in a company now that I can't mention, but scale up, pretty big, pretty famous. They are spending like 6 figures in a very famous data enrichment tool. So they're already spending a lot of crazy money for very simple and almost stupid setup and actions. And the Clay cost is probably not an issue at that point.
So when you go into these companies, are you working within their Clay? Are you going in and setting things up in their ecosystem?
Yeah, 100%. They open Clay alone. I enter into Clay. I own it. I was like, I really see like a comparison between Clay and like Salesforce. You need a Salesforce admin. And then on Salesforce, you need technical people and the people with the business ideas. And you have to put them together. Better if you have one guy that can do both. It's not easy, but that's really the thing. And of course, every company wants Clay. I personally believe that if you want Clay, not as an appointment set, but if you want Clay and really create go-to-market, engineer your go-to-market with Clay, it should be something internal. Not you can't really outsource it, like Salesforce. You really have to train your team, and not really train your team, but have someone who can own it, and every department can actually take value from it. And it's a process. It will take some time, and then you will move way faster. And even if you're good at assessing use cases in a pretty short term in general.
So what would an enterprise company like really utilize here? Is it more just for the data enrichment and getting market signals, or is it for the outbound function? Because when I see Clay, people posting about Clay, it's mostly about the outbound function.
Correct. You're right. It became famous because of it. And 99% of people are actually convinced it is an outbound tool. And if you check my post, I always say Clay is not an outbound tool. And you're right. And so how Clay is helpful apart from outbound, which is the really big question. So I have a pretty cool doc And if you go to 𝐾𝐨𝐽.com, you subscribe to the newsletter, you find like a series of emails where you get a lot of use cases. But I will tell you like some of them. First, inbound enrichment is crazy. I will make you an example. If I go now on a very random website of a mid to large company, the demo form has 10 questions. And they are right. They want friction. Otherwise, everybody would book a call and sales guys, we will waste sales guys' time, basically. Mm-hmm. But what we can do now is let's just ask a couple of questions. And if you know really well inbound, if you ask from 10 to 2 questions, you automatically 3 to 5x the number of inbound leads that you get. But most of them will be dirty. But instead of moving them to the sales team, connect them with Clay. And Clay can actually understand if they are a fit or not. If they are a fit, immediate speed to lead, because you connect LinkedIn and email and you reach out to the prospect immediately saying, thanks for the interest. These are 3 very interesting use cases. This is my calendar link, plus a notification to call immediately to the SDR. So more leads, immediate speed to lead, 100% almost or very high accuracy routing to the right sales guy with the right information. This is inbound.
In that setup, because it sounds really great, how do you work how do you prevent targeting current clients or competitors so you're not reaching out? Is when Clay's doing the assessment, it will work against a blacklist? How does that work?
That's exactly. So you can do a couple of things. Let's say, for example, I don't know, let's come up with a random company. Okay, let's say that my fit is I'm a CRM company and I work with, I don't know, real estate companies that are based in US, more than 50 people, more than 5 sales guys. And I don't want other CRM company to book demo with me. When someone sign up, I just need the company name and the name, or the email with the company domain, like michael.saruggia@apple.com. From that, I can get the company domain and I can immediately understand with a prompt or with a disqualification list, as you suggested, if it is a fit, is not already in the CRM, because we don't want to contact people that are already client, and it's not already a contact of one of the account executives. If it is not, we go on and we try to understand, is it based on US? Lead Magic and Rich Company find if it is based on the US starting from the URL. Does it have more than 5 sales guys in the team? Lead Magic, rather than Clay Enrichment, find how many people with the keyword sales is in the team. Is it greater than 5? Then return true. All the other ideas that you have in mind, but it can be a lot of things. Can be how much you're spending in ads, can be where are you based, how senior is the job title, what is the job to be done, what is the possible use case, can be a lot of things. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you can be really specific and it can be like a very clean process, especially for a large organization with a lot of inbound in different parts, in different direction, and in different sales and digital assets.
So when you're coming in and consulting with these companies, what is your first step? Is it like an audit, reconciling their current processes? What does it look like?
This episode is sponsored by Level Up Leads, a B2B sales development and appointment setting agency. Companies always need pipeline, but they oftentimes don't want to hire SDRs internally. The whole process is risky and expensive. You've got hiring costs, onboarding, training, additional spend on your tech stack, a few months to ramp up. And with that being said, SDRs are a high turnover position, and the person you hire might not necessarily work out, so you need to start all over again. That's why companies outsource this. Level Up Leads allocates a team of people, their tech stack, so you can onboard and launch your campaigns in about a week. They set qualified meetings in your calendar so your team has more selling opportunities. Visit levelupleads.io today to learn more. All right, now back to the show.
Yep, exactly. It's an assessment. Actually, I do the assessment directly in the demo call. So whoever comes into a call, what they basically do is, so first I have a Clay table where I can get an idea about their GTM. Like how much traffic you're getting, your inbound led, more sales led, PLG, not PLG, running ads, going to conferences and a lot of things. I try to speak with like CROs or revenue leaders in general, and I ask a lot of questions. I try really to go into the details on how the go-to-market is working. And I basically suggest, starting from a list that I have, what are the use cases with highest impact and easier, faster way to implement them so that they can have some quick wins. I just do an assessment. In my opinion, you should do inbound, newsletter outbound, better CRM enrichment, and conference playbook. I package them, and I show them how to build them, usually as a retainer or as a project basis. From there, and we can have an impact on all over the organization.
Have you seen kind of any consistencies between all the companies you talk to, like they're most lacking in certain areas?
Yeah, I guess it really depends how your GTM is organized. But the easiest quick win usually are like, so first, the sales team don't have an analyst. This is the easiest. And this is actually mind-blowing for me. Even like very big companies don't have a list. For a list, a TAM mapping. So SDR don't know who to target. When you don't know who to target and you wake up every day, you're like 6 SDRs and you don't know who to target and you cross-target people, it's very tough. And you even have problems when there's a misalignment between marketing, sales, and customer success. For example, I have a prospect now that told me something like, yeah, sales guys are closing, but they are closing the wrong account, and then customer success can't actually deliver. And they don't have a list. That's why they don't have a list. So the first would be, let's map the companies we can sell to, and let's incentivize the sales team to only prospect those lists. This is the first part. This is the key. Secondly, nobody's really good at managing inbound today. It's very tough to manage inbound without a tool like Clay. Very tough. Third, website traffic. If you have website traffic, you can anonymize part of it and move to the sales team fresh flow of warm leads. PLG. If you have PLG, the same. You can do exactly the same that I'm doing with inbound and move to the sales team a fresh, warm stream of leads to the sales team. Champions that are changing jobs from company to company. Ex-champions, sorry. And so in general, it is how can I extrapolate from a company some warm leads to move to the sales team? And as you probably figure out, I'm more of a activate the sales team with leads rather than fully automate.
I wanted to shift gears. I wanted to learn. So are you the only one at the Clay operator, or is there anyone else that works with you at the company?
I am the only one. I am just an advisor and a trainer working with a very small portfolio of scale-ups and a coaching program and a newsletter.
So how do you go about getting new business? Walk us through where business is coming from. I know you're pretty active on LinkedIn, but walk us through how are you getting new clients today?
Yeah, basically, I tried everything. So name one, I tried. Meta ads, LinkedIn, name one, even the wildest I tried. There was a time where I have so many things active, all of them working, but I was burning out and I'm alone. Of course, I have marketing contractors to make all the machine works. Otherwise it's impossible. But on the delivery side, it's really just me. It's not a joke. And what I usually do is this. LinkedIn, networking, and content is very powerful. It's 5 years I'm writing on LinkedIn, and it's really incredible. It's a machine. What I usually do is 1 post per weekday. I command with 30 people per day, and I connect with 15 key prospects per day.
You connect on comment on other people's posts, you said?
Yeah, 30 times per day, yeah. Key account, key prospects. And crazy enough, guys, this is like the new networking. Before you were going to the restaurant, to conferences, it is still working, still effective. But if you have few time, this is crazy. Nobody's really doing this in an effective way. It's like the hard way of doing things. And I have my LinkedIn hour or 30 minutes on LinkedIn every day just to engage. But it's very effective. And because when you start engaging, guys, you create an effect of it seems you're everywhere. I have people coming call with me but not many people telling me like, man, it seems you're everywhere. How is that possible? Because actually Clay GTM engineering is a small niche. If I comment on the best post of the day, I'm everywhere, literally. And you can only see me. And this is very effective. Secondly, I only connect with people that knows the category, only US based, already clay aware, active on LinkedIn. So it's very niche down, it's very refined, my ICP. It's a process, it's 5 years I'm doing this, and with time I found a way. Then all my posts and all the activities that I do channel everything into the newsletter, which is the real engine of everything. Then I have YouTube. I'm working with a stellar A-plus YouTube consultant that brought companies to millions with just YouTube. I'm not making millions from YouTube, unfortunately, right now, but I hope to get there somehow. And it's tough. It takes time. You have to get better at video. It's a process, but I broke even fast, so I'm happy. And everything, again, is channeling into the newsletter. So LinkedIn, YouTube, everything into the newsletter. Or a call with me if they ask something. And that's it. I'm trying to go to podcast now. As you can see, we are in a podcast right now because I think it's really valuable. If you can go to micro events, they are very powerful, but it takes time. You need relationship to go there, like private community, private events, podcast. So the small part of the internet that they are very focused on one key goal, one key topic. This is another that is very powerful and trying to figure out how to do. But it's basically LinkedIn, YouTube newsletter.
Let me ask you this.
And what about
What's
you
your
guys?
take?
You have like...
Oh, we need a separate podcast for that. So there's a lot that we're doing.
You have like you're an empire now. You're a enterprise company. You're in that direction.
I wouldn't go that far, but we are growing, which is great. No, we're doing a lot of different channels, but some are working a lot better than others. Yeah, it's probably
what's the best?
Cold calling.
Cold calling. Yeah. If you have an agency, outbound is still very effective. Mm-hmm. In my case, I'm alone. For my own go-to-market, I stopped doing outbound because I have a lot of demand. But if you have an agency, if you have a SaaS with a recurring revenue, it's still probably the best.
Yeah, the biggest thing is in general, with SaaS, but SaaS, you really do need product market fit. If you don't have or any product market fit, you would essentially be using us to test, market reception. But that would be another discussion. That's like a 10-hour discussion right there. But what we say, just put it in perspective too, what's working for us is just yesterday, we booked 6 meetings. 6 meetings over the phone for Level Up. So it just puts it in perspective. It works. You just got to do it.
It's also good because it's a live demo of what they'll be receiving. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm calling you right now. That's exactly what I'd be doing for your company. So it's a live demo and they get to hear the SDR speak. And, I can now imagine how this would sound if it was for my own company. It works in our favor in that sense.
Yeah, cold calling is powerful.
Yeah.
Cold calling is it's really, really powerful.
Yeah, of course, it has to make sense, though. It's not for everybody. If you have a smaller deal size, you need to be connecting with a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So the smaller the deal size, you might need to think about other channels for it to make sense. But what's your take on email these days, outbound email specifically? I know you're friends with a lot of people in this space. Do you feel like there's success to still be had there? Are there a lot of people that aren't doing it correctly? What's your take on the email side of things?
It's evolving. Actually, it evolved. It's still effective. It's different. So I think the misunderstanding is account executive trying to using emails. They start saying it is not working. Yeah, this way is not working because it evolved. Okay, now it's not email. It's not a communication one-to-one channel. It's more of I think you have to think about it like another network or advertising in general. So if I can send 157 emails and I get one interested reply, make the math backwards. And then you know that every 156 you send, you get one interested. And then send crazy volume. But you need an infrastructure to do this. Not just domains and addresses. You need how to write copy, what to test, how to use Clay, how to get the right lists. So if you have in a big team, but even if you are in a small team, It's still effective, but it's different. And you should think about cold email like an advertising network. For example, you're on LinkedIn or on Instagram, guys. I don't have Instagram, so I don't know, but I guess it's like this. You scroll 5 stories, 1 advertisement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 advertisement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 advertisement. We are clicking less on ads, but it's still $1 trillion business. It works, especially if it's super targeted. Sooner or later, you will click, okay? And if you think about email, you get 1 cold email out of a lot of proper emails, actually. You just need to raise the volume, be more effective, and now you have to be very good at stay outside of spam.
I think a lot of people don't know what goes into successful cold email right now. I think the list is challenging.
No.
The deliverability is challenging. The product market fit is challenging. So it's become a harder channel. We still see it working, just not like it was a few years ago.
Yeah, but at the same time, you have so things in general, if you think about it, don't stop working in general. They just get more expensive. For example, ads, yeah, they are less effective, but actually if you spend more, they are as effective. It's the same of email, because if you think about it, you just need to send more email. If you send more, okay, now instead of 1 out of 10, it's 1 out of 50, and then 1 out of 100. Just send more. The problem of sending more is you need aged domains, more enrichment, more people, more volume, more attention, which is more money. So it's just more expensive, but it's still way less expensive than, I don't know, LinkedIn ads or whatever.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't consider is anytime a channel, this works with any marketing or sales channel, no matter what you do, is if you're going to conferences, more people want to attend to certain conferences. What's going to happen? The ticket prices are going to go up. The booth prices are going to go up. And so now you're going to have to spend more to get into these conferences. Cool. Same works with SEO and advertising or PPC is the keywords you're targeting. The more people targeting those keywords or those long tail keywords, that price to actually start ranking organically is going to go up. Bidding on advertising keywords like Google, the more people targeting those keywords, that cost per click is going to start going up and those bidding values are going to go up. And same with Meta or even YouTube advertising. The more people going to those channels wanting to put their information in front of people, that price is going to start going up. And it's just wherever people are congregating to, that's where it's going to be the most expensive. That's what with email is. Email, everybody and their mother now has an automated sending platform, whether it's through Instantly, through Outreach, through Smartly, through Clay, even Apollo, for example.
In our very small niche, yes. Mm-hmm. Globally, not. For example, if you go to Europe and if you go to even business development agencies, I'm pretty sure 50% of them never heard about Smart Lead. So we are really in a niche of a niche, but a very loud niche of a niche. But if you think about it.
What about just companies in general, not agencies, just B2B companies in general? What percentage would you say are using some type of automated email platform?
1 out of 1,000.
1 out of 2,000 is using an automated sending platform? Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. I would suspect it would be more based off the number of emails I get.
Yeah, because if you think about it, even Clay, I will make you an example. I figured out this working with my YouTube consultant because he has like a very good idea on how big is a niche, because actually he does YouTube, and basically to be successful on YouTube is like SEO like 10 years ago. You have to work on something that already has demand, okay? Because you have to capture that demand, okay? And he always says cold email is a small niche, a very small niche compared to whatever any kind of other niche we are talking about. If you think about outreach is the biggest sales sequencer in the world, I think. And I think that 1 out of 100 SDRs are into outreach or some sequencers in general. In Italy, the majority of B2B companies don't know what an SDR is. As word of mouth.
Where are they? They're online or out on the boats? You don't know anything about it?
I'm always guessing. I don't know. I don't
Making
know, man.
pizza?
But actually, it's like that. No, that was crazy. It was like 3 years ago. Yeah, it's crazy, but not in Italy. Even if you go outside the English speaking market, especially US sophistication, is another word. Now it changed a little bit, it's true, but just a couple of years ago, I had a call with a CEO of $1 billion company, B2B company, commercial company. So if you're a commercial company, you have a large sales force and you are pretty aware of what's going on. And you're even launching like new initiatives, so that you have a lot of things going from 0 to 1 in B2B. I was like, you have to hire a BDR. And it was like, man, I don't know what a BDR is. At that point, I said, oh, wow, maybe we are talking about two different words.
I've had that come up too sometimes. I say the word SDR and they like, oh, what's that? And so I have to like simplify it, or sometimes in the future, I'll just spell out, say sales development representative to prevent any confusion.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sometimes you get caught up in the world of sales and you realize not everyone comes from that. Even if they work at a tech company, they may be in something not related to sales and they're just not used to hearing that acronym. All right, guys, I wanted to wrap up this show. Michael, thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much. Such a pleasure to be in this podcast. And clayoperator.com is the website where you can actually get all the information and subscribe to the newsletter.
Nice.
Awesome. All right, guys, you know where to find Michael. Until next time.